Welcome back. This episode is going to be the Survivor recap from last night's episode. If you have not already watched it and you don't want any spoiler alerts, pause the video and come back and watch it once you've watched the show. We're going to talk about mistakes that are being made, plays that are being made, where I see this going, and we'll be right back. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. So can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Welcome back, everyone, to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona Rose, and we're here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. So last night's episode was probably the closest I've seen to the old style Survivor since this started. The last few years have kind of been a disappointment. They've been predictable. Not a whole lot going on. Tonight's episode was a little different. It started out showing them coming back from tribal council last night. And Marianne tells everyone that she has the extra vote. Now, in her mind, she's thinking, this is for us. This is for the whole tribe. When we get to merge, we've got an extra vote that'll help us out. Is that good gameplay? Again, everybody seems to have diarrhea of the mouth. Keep your idols, your advantages, whatever, close to your vest. Do not be telling everyone, because that just gives them an incentive to get you out. And it goes on to show that the whole tribe, as a tribe, decides that they're going to look for an idol. And again, the same premises, that it's for the whole tribe, for when they get to merge, it will help them out. Marianne finds the shared immunity idol. So now she not only has the extra vote, but now she has a shared immunity idol, which makes her even more of a threat in everyone's eyes. Marianne, I think she's been pulling her own weight when it comes to the challenges and stuff. And she's just so likable. I mean, you can't help but like her. Her energy just makes you happy. Or it does me. It just makes me happy. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Marianne and her decisions to be so honest with everyone on her tribe. Because we have seen in days past that it comes back to bite them in the butt. And I'm afraid that that may happen with her. Her phrase that she had to say was something about a bunny having lunch in a mailbox. And you're thinking, how in the world is she ever going to say that and not raise some eyebrows? When they get to the challenge, she says her little spiel, and then she goes on and she elaborates. I don't know how long that she actually talked. Because of editing, they probably cut it down some. But she was just going on. And everybody is looking and going, what is she talking about? Well, Mike knew what she was talking about. Daniel knew what she was talking about. And Jenny knew what she was talking about. Because Daniel and Jenny both know about Mike's idol. So they kind of give her the side eye. So they nod, and it's like, okay, she has that for her tribe. So still the third one has not been found. So Mike decides to keep it close to his vest and not say his phrase until he finds out that the third idol's been found. Speaking of Mike's idol, Daniel, being the lawyer that he is, law clerk, whatever, wanted to read the instructions again. And against Mike's better judgment, he let Daniel take it off to read it. Daniel brings it back. There's no idol and there's no congratulations. There's just the instructions. And Mike starts flipping out. He's about to blow a gasket. He's like, hey, where's the rest of it? And he's like, you didn't give me that. All you gave me was the instructions. So he follows Daniel back to where he opened the letter, and there he found the instruction, or the congratulations letter, and the idol. And evidently Daniel is well known around his tribe for losing everything, from his shoes to his water bottle to now almost Mike's idol. So Mike holds it close to himself. He doesn't say anything at the immunity challenge. He doesn't say anything. He just lets it go on. So they get to the immunity challenge, and it's an immunity challenge and it's a reward challenge at the same time. The reward was a toolkit and a vegetable platter. For second place, it was a smaller toolkit with a smaller vegetable platter. Third place, of course, they go to tribal council. This was a hard challenge. I've not seen a challenge this hard in a long time. It started with them jumping off a platform. The waves were so high they could barely hold on and stay on the platform to jump in the water to swim. Then they had to swim out to a buoy. Then somebody had to swim down underneath the water and untie a ladder. Once the ladder was released, they carried that further to another stand that they had to use the ladder to get a key off of the top. Only there was nothing to hold the ladder up. So the tribe had to hold the ladder up with somebody climbing it to get that key. Let me tell you, Jonathan was a beast. He carried that whole tribe. He got everybody to the buoy, got down, untied the ladder, was carrying the ladder by himself, dropped the ladder, went back and got the ones that were having trouble swimming. And like I said, the waves were horrendous. I have not seen them do a challenge that, to me, was that dangerous in a long time. So he gets everybody up to shore. He gets the ladder. They get the key. He holds the ladder up by himself. They go up, they get the key, come back down. He carries the ladder all the way to the beach, goes back, and he's getting everybody up to the beach. Well, once they get to the beach, they had to use the ladder to retrieve sandbags. And there was 5 little, I don't know, circle areas that had a beanbag on each one. They had to retrieve those. Then they had to throw the beanbags back up there and make them stay. All 5 of them. They got it done. And rather quickly. The other 2 were still out in the water trying to get the ladder up to where someone could retrieve the key. And in the first time in Survivor history that I've ever seen, after it was pretty well determined that they weren't getting anywhere. The waves were knocking them under. They were taking on water. They were having trouble even staying afloat. They were going underneath the waves. And Jeff stopped the challenge. Called them all up to the beach and said, look, this is the first time I think we've ever done this. But the conditions out there are just way too bad to have you continue. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out, we're going to retrieve your keys, and then you're going to start on land and finish the challenge out. So production went out, got the keys down, took them back. Jeff started them again on land. So they had to climb up, get their bags, throw the bags up there. Ika finishes second place. So they get the smaller toolkit and the fruit platter. They had a choice to choose between the toolkit or the fishing supplies because they hadn't got fishing supplies yet. they chose the fishing supplies. So then Jeff says, Taku, since they won the immunity challenge, they had to pick one person from the Vati, I still can't say that. Vati, I think is how you say it. The losing tribe. They had to pick one person from that to go on a journey. And they picked Chanel. Well, then they had to pick a second person to go on the journey with her. And it could be from any of the tribes, including their own. So Omar quickly volunteered. So they sent Omar and Chanel up to the summit. And so Omar and Chanel go up to the summit. And they're talking. And Chanel tells him there's nothing that she would ever do to risk her vote because she was going to travel. So they get down to the wheel, and Omar is thinking, well, she's already told me she's not going to risk her vote, that she can't lose her vote. And so that if there was something that he could do to help her not lose her vote, that, you know, that's what was going to happen. So Omar takes that as she's not going to risk her vote. She's going to protect her vote. And he says, well, if she's going to protect her vote, then I can risk my vote and I can get an extra vote. Well, Chantel is thinking, Omar knows that I can't afford to lose my vote, and we kind of connected, and I really like him, and I think that he's going to do the opposite, that he's going to protect his vote so that I can risk mine so that I can get the extra vote. So she's thinking, you know, I don't know how long it takes them to hike up that hill or whatever and how much time they're actually together. But it's the first time they've met. And so she thinks that he's going to help her get an advantage. I'm like, you just told him that you weren't going to risk your vote. If that was what was coming up. You didn't know what was coming up, but that you couldn't afford to lose your vote. I would have taken that as she's not going to risk her vote. So they both risked their vote. So they both lost their vote for the next tribal council. So Chanel goes back to camp and she tells them that she protected her vote. Now remember, Jenny's already been there. So Jenny already knew what the summit was. And when Jenny went, she didn't risk her vote. She protected her vote. So you have a tribe that's going to tribal council. Omar doesn't have a vote because he lost his. Mike doesn't have a vote because of the three-way shared immunity. And we already know that Daniel and Chanel are working together, and Mike and Jenny are working together, and Lydia and Hai are working together. So Hai and Lydia are planning on voting out Jenny. And they tell Daniel that. And he's like, oh, I'm with y'all, 100% I'm with y'all. We're going to vote out Jenny. You know, it's the four of us, me and Chanel and Hai and Lydia, and we're going to vote out Jenny. Well, then he goes right back and he tells Mike and Jenny, I'm just hanging out with them so they don't get suspicious because I'm voting with you. And we'll vote Lydia out. And so when Chanel gets back to camp, Daniel did ask her who she wanted out, and she said Lydia. Well, she's not going to say herself. She, you know, she thinks that they're working with Mike and Jenny, so she's not going to say either one of their names. So it was either Hai or Lydia. And Lydia is the weakest player of that whole tribe, in my opinion. So they get to tribal. I love the looks on the faces of the players the first time that they walk into tribal council. They're like looking around and they're just in awe of everything. It's like, I can't imagine that feeling, but I love to see it. And it's the same every single time a tribe goes to tribal council for the first time. All of these seasons, 42 seasons, it's the same look. And I laugh every time because I'm like, it doesn't matter who it is. You're in awe of the setup. So they're talking at tribal council and Jeff Jeff is asking questions like he normally does. And Daniel talks about how spastic he is and how nervous per person he is. And Jeff said, well, you know, who calms you down? He made a mistake because he's made Hai and Lydia think that he's working with them. His answer to the question was Mike, and I want to say Chanel, but when he said Mike, Hai kind of just like cut him a look. Like, what? And Hai had already said that Chanel was acting different when she came back to camp. So he's already got some weird vibes going on. So they're talking. They go through their spiel. And it comes time to vote. Well, like I said before, Chanel doesn't have a vote. And Mike doesn't have a vote. So what does it happen? It comes out a 2-2 tie. 2 for Jenny and 2 for Lydia. Jenny and Daniel voted for Lydia. Lydia and Hai voted for Jenny. So, you know, everybody walks up there like they're voting, whether they're voting or not, because they don't want to give away who has the advantages. So they walk up there and act like they're voting. So the votes come out a 2-2 tie. And Hai is looking around and he is so confused. And he just has this look of, what the hell is going on? So they revote. And they go through the whole thing again. Well, of course, you know, Lydia doesn't vote and Jenny doesn't vote because their names are there. So then it comes down to a 1-1 tie. So Jeff tells them, if they can't come in to an agreement as a tribe, then they're going to have to draw rocks. And Hai is like, wait a minute, where are the votes? What happened to all the votes? Where are the votes? And Jeff said, well, we've never had this happen before. But because there are certain people that can't vote, and this has just exposed it, then we have to say that Mike and Chanel both don't have a vote tonight. Well, right away everybody knows Chanel risked her vote then because she just went to the summit. And she came back telling them about it. About going to the summit and about how she protected her vote. So they all know that she's lied to them now. But nobody knows why Mike doesn't have a vote. Mike hasn't went on a journey. So questions are going to be asked when they get back to camp, I'm sure. So Hai says, well, I want to ask Daniel, he said, I want to know when I lost your trust. And Daniel said, you didn't lose my trust. I'm voting the way Chanel wants me to vote. And Chanel's like, what? How did you're throwing me under the bus? So Daniel goes into this full spiel that he knew she didn't have a vote and that she wanted him to vote for her per se and that this was all her fault. And Hai says, I'm not changing my vote. And Daniel said, now let's talk about it. You know, we don't want to draw rocks because if they drew rocks, it would be, I believe, everybody except for Lydia. Yeah, everybody except for Lydia and Jenny would have to draw rocks. So that would be Mike, Daniel, Chanel, and Lydia. Not Lydia. Be Mike, Chanel, Daniel, and Hai would have to draw rocks. And Daniel's not wanting that. But Hai's like, I'm not changing my vote. Period. This is what it is. And he says, well, let me ask you something. Can you overlook the fact that I wrote Lydia's name down and work with me? And he said, yeah, I can overlook it. Now, whether they can or not, that's a different story once they get back to camp. But right now, they're going to say whatever they got to do to save their butt. And they're like, sure, no problem. We can overlook it. We can move forward, yada, yada, yada. And Daniel says, I'm sorry, Jenny, but I'm not willing to risk my game by drawing rocks. I'm just not. So I'm going to have to change my vote and vote you out. So they voted Jenny out. I can't imagine what that homecoming is going to be when they get back to camp after tribal. I have a feeling that it's going to be very explosive. Tell me what you think in the comments. How did you like last night's episode? Did it bring back some fond memories of older times? Because it did for me. But I still can't believe that everyone's telling everyone about their idols and their advantages and all that. I would never. Nothing would come out of my mouth. So that's about all I have for you guys tonight. I'm sorry my voice is a little hoarse. I've been working outside all day and my allergies are giving me fits. But anyway, I will see you guys on the next video. And if any of you are interested, I'm starting a gardening episode. I decided that I want to try to see if I have a green thumb. I've never gardened in my life, but I love fresh vegetables. So, I'm doing another video tonight on that, on some stuff that I did today. If you're interested, it'll be up later on tonight. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Have a good night, and as always, much love.